be having a talk with Miss Lakshmi, and she is from India Hikes, and she heads the trekking. She's the head of the trekking department there. Could you comment about the current scenario of e-waste in our country? It's just a very
Uh,
generic question.
yeah, it is. The thing about e-waste in our country as of now is that at least few years ago, I read somewhere in a report that India is currently the fifth largest e-waste producer in the entire world. So the quantum of waste that we are generating when it comes to e-waste, and e-waste in general includes anything that contains um, any kind of electronics and electricals, right? It's a very varied um, category to say. So it comprises everything from bulbs to laptops to phones to batteries to it's a wide array of materials that we are looking at when we are considering e-waste. The problem with e-waste, however, is that even though we are the fifth largest producer of this kind of a waste, unfortunately, we also do not have the infrastructure to handle this waste when it is disposed. When it comes to bulbs, when it comes to phones, laptops, there are different e-waste collectors. Most kabadiwalas will take them. Yeah, so they form the first level of informal or formal waste collection system within India, right? So they will definitely take it from you. And there are a lot of online platforms. For example, I think I'm not familiar with the name in Chennai, but in Bangalore at least, we have few online platforms where you can really go in and say, these are the kind of waste I have it at my home. Can you come and pick it up? Right. So even that level of picking up from home has come in place. So you can ask them to come and take your waste and go. Basic thing that we should everyone really try and do is segregate our waste. Unfortunately, in India, when we started having this conversation around segregation, we kind of narrowed it down to just two categories, which is wet waste and then dry waste. And at least according to me, that I honestly feel that it's not enough because beyond wet waste, which predominantly takes care of your organic waste, the dry waste is very vast. You have multiple categories that are compressed under dry waste. And if you are not going to segregate at home and you're going to give out all of your dry waste together to your waste collector, you are basically putting on that responsibility for them to handle that waste. Imagine the volume of such waste that we are handling out to few concentrated people to take care of. I think that's where our entire system is failing, in that we have really made it too simple for us to even and transfer the responsibility completely from our end to an entity which I think is struggling to segregate the waste at the end of the day. And why I insist on segregation is just to take the case of Bangalore, where I'm currently staying. There have been, if to be very honest, there have been a lot of industrial composters that are within Bangalore that have been commissioned and that have been built. But unfortunately, they don't really work effectively, or they are not efficient because purely because the waste is mixed. When your waste is mixed and you're not able to segregate it, because at a certain level you will not be able to practically segregate all the waste, it is going to harm the systems that you have built to take care of it. And eventually what then happens is that they fail. So even in Bangalore, even though there are 10 to 15 industrial composters, not many of them work um, because of the same problem. And we see that actually happening even in the dry waste processing sector. Like when you have plastic recycling doesn't happen. The rates are very low, primarily because again, they are not segregated at source. So for me, I think the biggest thing would be to say segregate your waste into more categories as much as possible at your source. The more we take care of that, the burden of handling that reduces over the line of people who are going to take care of your waste.
Cooking and sustainability, ma'am, how well do they go with each other? Because cooking, it looks simple, but it has a lot of elements in itself, and then sustainability plays a very important role there as well. So your thoughts on that, ma'am?
I think one of the big ways I started thinking about sustainability was when I started cooking my own food. I think until that time, you don't really realize is what goes into the food that we eat and things that we take for really for granted. Even the concept of me leaving meat, I turned first a vegetarian and then a vegan. The biggest change of actually turning a vegetarian happened when I accompanied my mom to get meat to a butcher shop and see the entire process of how the meat was being made, and see the animal get killed in front of my eyes made me change my mind about eating meat that very moment. So I feel the moment you start getting very closely connected with your food, and that happens when you start cooking your food, is when you will start realizing or getting connected to sustainability in a more personal level. Try composting at home because you are staying at home. Almost all the food that you're consuming, all the food that you're making is in and around your home. So you have a lot more control of it. And I feel the best time to experiment and learn composting is now. And it's a very rewarding way of actually seeing the full cycle, the biological cycle of actually how food starts from where it starts from and where it ends to your plate. You actually become part of that system and you start to compost your own food. So I would definitely recommend trying composting at home. And
Oh,
second thing would be to avoid or planning your shopping. See, one of the biggest ways, again, we generate a lot of waste is by purchase, like how what we purchase and how we purchase things, right? And especially with COVID, I think more and more people are choosing to shop online. And with that comes a lot of packaged, right? A lot of waste. Either it is plastic or paper, whatever considered, both are a strain on the environment because they are used for once and then they are thrown away. So, planning your purchase in a way where you are able to reduce these waste, I think is something that we should definitely try and consider and see how you can personally go about it. I recently read multiple reports where people have already started seeing masks around the coasts of many coastal areas that are very, very far away. And they know that this waste has not really come from their area. So these are islands that are quite far away, very remote, but they're still seeing those masks out there. That means they have traveled quite a while and they've reached that far, which means that they are
uh,
not even the kind of the bulk of the waste. So yes, very much I would recommend that please use cloth masks and not go for the polypropylene one, which is kind of most likely single use and it's very harming. We can only bring about a very big change when we are focusing on our inner behavior, even if it means making sure, okay, there is a dustbin, there are multiple dustbins, let's say, but it takes your behavior to ensure that you're putting the right waste in the right dustbin in the right way, right? The moment even one of us fail to do that, we have corrupted the entire system. And everything, every infrastructure that you put in, every process that you put in just fails when even one of us don't change our behavior, right? And sustainability is all about making those small changes, understanding what works best and making that a part of our life. So for me, sustainability cannot take a step forward without us focusing on changing our behavior.
so you are a PhD. You've done your PhD in mechanical engineering, and right now you're in the field of trekking. So this is like two completely. No, it's not. It might be connected, but again, these are two different parts of life. So how did this transition happen? And could you share with us your journey, ma'am?
Right. I think it all started with my exposure to nature. I think I did a trek with India Hikes when I was, I think, in my first year of my PhD, and that was a very transformative experience for me. I think being in the outdoors for the first time, I get to experience nature in its closest because I predominantly come from a place where I was in a town which was predominantly industrious. Having this kind of an exposure was very different for me. I think that made me appreciate nature more. And I have grown up watching a lot of Discovery Channel and Nat Geo Channel. Like
Yeah.
documentaries where I wanted to work in conservation. So when I finished my PhD, I really wanted to use my skills that I've gained, which are very valuable skills. Even any domain, if you do a PhD, you are gaining problem solving skills. So I really wanted to take that skills that I've gained to solve problems which are very pertinent and which are very real. And for me, I think sustainability or conservation related problems were something that I really wanted to work on. And I think that's what took me to trekking. I joined India Hikes precisely to work on waste management problems in the Himalayas. That was my first internship with India Hikes. That's what made me take that career up as a full-time job. And I think I really wanted to use the skills I've gained to solve this problem. So yeah, climate change is real and it's much, much bigger than COVID. And we are seeing the repercussions of it. Just in this last 4 months, we have seen so many hurricanes within India itself, right? So that's a challenge we are facing. And so in that way, we are going to be the defining generation. So that is a lot of responsibility for us. It is exciting because we get to define the course for our own future. But that also adds that there is that weight of that burden on us. We just have to be ready for it. And I think if we are all put our minds to it and if we really work towards our future, I don't see why we cannot solve our problems because the solutions are already existing. It's just a matter of getting the solutions out there and finding a way to work together to get it out there. So I think the more we focus on that, I think the more we will be moving towards um, our our better future. So inaction will not work because whether you choose to not act or act, we are going to change the course of our future. So I would like everyone to take steps that are going to help protect our nature. Would be my